Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 18 of Passin Dimes, Dallas. We're up to 18. This is, I don't know how long you expected this to last, but every week's just a gift to me.
18. You know what's a good thing about this is I'm slowly learning, like when you ask a new mother how old her child is, she'll say 18 weeks, and I can go, okay, well, I know that's around 5 months because we've been doing this for around 5 months. So we're on episode 18. 18 weeks, 5 months. Quick math.
Jim, the intern, might have to check the math on that, but let's get into it. The streak continues. Whoever we ask comes on the show. We haven't got a full-out no. We've had some scheduling conflicts, but we haven't got flat-out told no, and we shot for the stars on this one. This week's guest is a bronze medalist, went back when it was the CIS, has also played Cegep. Do you want to jump in?
Whatever that is.
You can jump in with some fun facts. Is going to represent Canada at the Pan Am Games.
Silver medalist, Canadian National Championships.
That's a good one. Relocated from Quebec to be a full-time resident of Ontario. We'll hear about that. That's exciting.
Multiple names.
I didn't count, but has played a lot of FIV events. Like, has been full-time on tour for at least 3 or 4 seasons here. So this is a big get for us. Welcome to the show, MC Lapointe.
Thank you.
I didn't respect the multiple names. I should have said Marie, Christine.
Yeah, actually, I'm probably the only one who doesn't have a middle name. It doesn't exist in Quebec, so I don't know if I have multiple names or not.
Well, you go by MC, you go by your full first 2 names. I guess there's no middle name in there, so...
Yeah.
Well, last week we learned that Liam's middle name was Rickshaw Hui or something, so apparently you can just make up your middle name whenever you want.
Intern Jim's going to have a lot of work to do in lineage here.
Anyways, comment ça va?
Ça va très bien. Je suis contente d'être ici.
I just used up all my French there.
About sums it up for our basic French.
Sorry, friends in Quebec, but that'll be most of the French content of this episode. But yeah, let's get into it. How's your season going? Where are you in terms of your YTP, like your plan for the year? What are you looking forward to?
We're middle towards the end of our seasons right now. We're heading into Ben Open next weekend, then the weekend after Edmonton, and we're going to Pan Am.
Woo! Congratulations! Yeah, confirmed.
Yeah,
we broke that story. Oh, we claimed we did, but we were watching. We had a Pan Am watch going from pretty early on in the show, so it's exciting that it's confirmed and you're the team going.
Yeah, I'll be super excited.
So let's start with that. Was that something when you planned your tournament schedule in January that you knew you wanted Pan Am and kind of planned appropriately with the amount of 4 stars you went to or 3 stars and even some 2-star results?
Yeah, we planned that out. Like, as soon as Amanda and I teamed up, that was one of our goals, and we didn't even have to, like, talk about it together. It was, like, it came up, like, it was both the first thing we wanted to do. Like, we knew it was a big goal. We knew, like, the teams going to the Olympics are more established, and now that Mel and Sarah just won the World Championship, like, one team is already going, so we knew it was going to be like one of a good goal to achieve for us as a new team this year.
Perfect. So what went into that planning? So friends of the show would know that it was your best 4 results, but I think you guys played more than 4 just to kind of give you a cushion.
Yeah, we played 6. So, well, it's results from January 1st, 2019 until June 16. So we wanted to go in the Netherlands, like when it first started, like making sure we had a good start. So we played that one to start. Then we went in Cambodia and Australia, where we had 2 other good results. We had a 5th in Cambodia, and then we got out of our pool in the 3-star, and we qualified. So we're a new team, so everything was like always exciting. And then after that, our other good result was we got I think it was in Turkey. In Turkey, then we got
You're such a world traveler, you don't even know where you are in the world.
I know! Yeah, Turkey. We got another 200. And then in between, we played 2 4-star where we didn't qualify. But we wanted to go for the experience and just test out the level because we're a new partnership. So, like, we want to know, like, what we need to work on and be exposed to, like, what we need to do. And then, what was the other event that we went to? Oh, another 2-star in China. Yeah. And then we were supposed to be...
I forgot that I traveled around the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Have you been to a multi-sport games before?
No, that's my first one. Well, I guess this Canada Games count?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that
for
definitely
sure. I'll
counts.
count
Okay.
Canada
That counts.
Games.
Canada Games.
There's
and
multiple sports
Yeah.
there.
I didn't know if you meant like international or
Did you play indoor at Canada Games or
Yeah,
beach? You played
indoor.
Indoor. Which Canada Games? In Sherbrooke?
in St. John's.
Oh,
Yeah,
in what was that? 2011.
So before Sherbrooke? Yeah, it would have been.
2011.
2011. How's that for quick math?
Yeah.
On fire
Yeah,
today.
that was
Who
good.
needs an intern when you got Dallas over there?
Yeah.
Big brain math guy.
Yeah, and do you guys have Ontario games?
I think they call it Ontario Summer Games. They do.
Yeah.
I don't know a
It's
whole
a
lot
youth
about
event
it.
for us. I think beach is 15U and court is 16U, so it's a little bit younger, but it's kind of training grounds to go to Canada Games.
Yeah. Well,
You guys
I
have
did
that as well?
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
that as well.
Ah, you're a
So
veteran.
you're well versed. you know what to expect. Quebec Summer Games.
Yeah.
Pan Am Games. Same difference.
Yeah.
So my next question is since we've, as a confederation, announced the teams that are going, do you know who else is going for the other countries, or you have to wait just to see the technical meeting who's there? You don't know from the U.S. who's going or who's sort of on the map, or
Yeah.
I know that who was it last? It was in Toronto. It was Kelly Larson and
Flint.
Betsy
Yeah.
Flint that went, and I forget who. I know Miles.
Argentina did well.
Argentina did well.
Yeah.
So I think for the U.S. it's a development team, and I know for the Brazilians they usually send a strong team as well.
Yeah.
But I guess that'll be interesting when we find out all the teams that are in.
Yeah. There'll definitely be some really good competition over there, and it's a really good time for us to set that up as a peak event.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
It's
So
going to be really
the
good.
teams sort of on your watch would be what? Brazil, the U.S., Argentina, Cuba,
Yeah. Mexico.
Mexico. So it'll be a top-heavy tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know the format yet. Like, Adriana's having a meeting tomorrow, like letting us know. No, on Wednesday, like letting us know.
So
What's
it could
happening.
be double elimination, could be single elimination.
Yeah. You know what? We're going in and we're playing some games. That's what we know and that's what we love to
Hey,
do.
That's great.
that's a good way to go into it.
Yeah.
Nice. So how did you and Amanda team up? Like, what kind of sparked this partnership?
So we teamed up after Christmas. No, before Christmas actually, in December, and it was just after we did in Norsica together in
It was Martinique.
yes,
That was the one?
Martinique. Yeah, one of the French islands.
You must have fit right in. Fan favorite.
I know. Every time I'm in a
I did fit right in.
I do. Yes. I was actually like translating for them at the press conference because they
No
didn't
way.
have anyone like speaking English, so no one could understand but me.
How the tables have turned.
Finally, my time to shine.
And nobody accused you that, like, Quebec French is different than France French? Like, nobody accused you of slang or anything like
Only
that?
English people do that.
Oh, okay. Only snobby English people do that. Okay, that's fair.
No, actually, when you see someone like from France, I would say Paris, sometimes they'll do it too. But you know what? We get used to it. We're happy about our language.
It's like Scottish English to Canadian English. Sometimes you talk too fast, and I don't really know what's going on there.
What about England? I always wonder.
Yeah,
Their English is so different.
yeah. Well, their phrases and stuff. Like, I don't know. I've never been to England.
Me either.
You might have been.
You've
just
been around the
could have
world.
forgotten about it.
Yeah.
Good. So you guys played in Norsica together, and then you just decided, that was fun. Let's do it again, or
Yeah, well, we played in Norsica, and during the tournament we had fun, and like we got a good result, so we were like, ooh, maybe that could be a really good possibility for next year. And then we talked more about it, and we're like, we're in the same boat. Let's go for Pan Am.
yeah. For you, the results were like you've played on the Norsica tour a while. Was that Amanda's first international medal? Like the third in Martinique? That might have been her first
Yeah.
time on the podium, right? So no wonder she wanted to play with you.
Yeah.
And then you guys played in a 4-star in the Hague. That would have been both of you, your first
Main
main
draw.
draw at a 4-star,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, just magic
Yeah.
happens when you guys started to play together.
Yeah, and we played that first seed, first match, and we almost had them. It was really good. Yeah, really good opportunity to learn.
Awesome.
So it must be obviously exciting to have this sort of big tournament in your watch. Who's coming from your family? Is everybody coming down, or is this sort of like you're gonna come to the dinner table and say, "Hey, I actually went to Peru and it was a ton of fun and there was thousands of people there," or is everyone coming down to see you? Like, you're doing a bit of touring of Canada now with the Van Open in Edmonton,
Yeah.
and then you go from Edmonton to Peru.
We have to stop here because our flight is booked from Toronto.
Okay.
But my family, my mom is gonna be coming. My sister, who also played beach, Luciane, yeah, and our boyfriend and my boyfriend.
So the whole family.
Yeah, I'm missing a few. I have 4 siblings.
So what's up with the other 2?
One of them has a kid, so it's gonna be a little hard.
That's not an excuse.
And
They love Peru.
Kids love Peru.
yeah, apparently it's a bit dangerous over there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've heard that too.
yeah, we're being constrained a little bit. So yeah, and all I hear, like today, my mom was talking to someone in Peru, and they were saying, like the guide was saying, like I'm not gonna get my phone out because I'm gonna get it stolen. So I was like, okay. Like, I'm taking notes here. I need to keep my cell phone in my pocket. I have no clue what to expect, but I've heard that we...
Well, is there a village, or...?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'm assuming the
But
village...
we're not allowed to get out.
I think that's a bit of a blessing in disguise.
I know, but I've heard that it's always like that. Like, at first, they're super strict. But then I heard from other people, like, one of the friend of my mom is from Peru.
Yeah.
And she was saying it's...
See, when I was in Brazil, it was a little dicey, and I was...
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily want to explore much the way that we could explore when we were in Australia together, or when you're in Europe. So I think, from my personal experience, if someone said, "Hey, we're going to keep you confined to the village," it's almost like, "Okay, sounds good."
Yeah. I need to respect it.
Nice. With all the tour stops you have played on, is there a certain country or city you like to go to and kind of walk around when the tournament's over? Like
Sydney.
you guys mentioned Sydney.
Yeah.
Sydney was amazing. Yeah.
Actually, you made some friends there. You went back early this year because you had somebody to stay with, right?
Yeah.
Look at you guys making friends. Do you want to give them a shout out? Who was that?
Yeah. Carrie Pathars and Max Dagenet. He's actually her husband. Well, Carrie Pathars played for Australia. She's the gold medalist of the 2000 Olympics in Australia.
She doesn't get mentioned as much as Cook does. Natalie Cook gets a lot of shout outs.
Yeah. Well, shout out to you,
Yeah,
Carrie.
Yeah, we're breaking news here.
Let's go.
Apparently, there's another person on the court that won.
Yeah. And her husband is actually from Montreal, like from Quebec. So I go there and then I can speak French, and I have a son, so I feel like home right away. Amanda, like it took her no time to like feel like
Speak
home.
French.
Well, yeah, she's actually working on
Yeah.
this so much. Yeah,
That's good.
she's getting better.
So I remember when we were in Manly together, you actually ran into someone on the boardwalk right in the middle of playing. So
Yeah, there's a lot of travelers from Montreal. There was a guy who was traveling, was doing construction there, was just there for a whole year. And he came and supported me at all my games. It was just amazing to see like a homely face.
Right.
Like so far from home.
Couldn't be much further from home. Yeah, exactly. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So are they coming, so we'll go back to your family. Are they coming to the event in Edmonton or Vancouver, or is it everyone's just meeting you in Peru?
My mom might be coming to Edmonton.
Okay.
But for the other one, they have work. So, like, they can only take a certain time.
So I'm going to say this knowing that I have a lot of authority and power here. Lapointe family, they all get off work. Babysitters are coming in the loom. Everyone is getting down to Edmonton. Everyone's getting down to Peru. You heard it here first.
Yeah, why wouldn't they just take more time off work and just follow you around the world tour?
You can always get another job. You can't go to another Pan Am Games in 2019.
Yeah.
I think you and I should go now.
Yeah.
We should just follow around the
know.
place.
I just got a new job. It looks like it's going to be a new old job for me.
Nice. Let's keep the Quebec thing going. What was volleyball like growing up for you? Did you play club? Was high school really good there? Like, what kind of sparked you to be a professional athlete here in volleyball?
I started in high school playing, and it was like the level was okay. I was always playing like year olders, but I didn't know about the national team. I didn't know anything. Like it was just like I love the sport, so I was playing it. And then at one time, one of my coaches was like, "Oh, you should actually come to my school. Like we want you to become a setter," because I started libero because I was smaller, and then I went right side for a bit. And then they were like, "Oh, actually, we want you to be a setter for a Cegep next year. Like, if you would want for your last year of high school, like to switch school." we would love that. And I was like, fine, I'll do it. I love it. Like, I love the sport. So I just switched, learned to set, and then went to Cegep at Ep.18, where I played 3 years.
Say that 3 times fast.
Yeah, try it.
No?
No.
Come on.
I know one Cegep, and it's John Abbott. I can say that as many times as you want.
Lima Lou is quite good at
Oh, that
volleyball.
was great at accent aigu.
Accent aigu. There's no accent aigu in Limoilou.
Shh.
I have no idea what we're talking about anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Is it St. John or St. Jerome? There's another one, isn't there? St.
Yeah.
Where Chauncey
Saint-
played. Where was that?
They played for...
Where Sarah played, or
No.
Sarah
No.
played.
Sarah played for the Lynx.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the Lynx. Yeah, I know
Lynx.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought Chauncey played for like St. John or St. Jerome.
Well, Saint Jerome.
Okay.
There's one like that. I don't know if he played there
Oh, okay.
because he was after me.
I know that there's a
Yeah.
Sherbrooke University and a Sherbrooke Cegep.
Hey.
Yes.
So they really try to confuse you with that.
Yeah.
So let's explain that for our listeners, because I think people who are fans of college volleyball think that Cegep is college because that's the league they play in.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, Cegep starts in high school, right? Is that not technically grade 12 is the first year of Cegep?
Yeah. So, well, yeah. We say Cegep start after high school because high school
Yes,
finishes
yeah.
in like secondary 5, which is grade 11 here.
Yeah, so it's 7 to 11 in
Yeah.
Ontario, and then you go, what's it, 2 years? to
Yeah, we go
Cegep?
2 years
Yeah.
in Cegep. But when we go to university, it's 3 years, not 4.
Unless you
So
go to
we,
Laval and play men's volleyball, then I think it's 8 years.
Or football. Football.
Yeah, football is a long time.
Apparently there's a lot of 29-year-old linebackers
Yeah.
in Laval.
In Cegep, that happens too, though. People go back.
Well, like you said, because it is high school, it doesn't count against your U Sports eligibility, right? Is that how,
Yeah.
like, you could play 2 years of Cegep and then 4 years Laval? And
So you heard it here first. In Quebec, it's socially acceptable to be 30 in high school.
as long as you're starting linebacker
As long as,
or
as long as you're playing sports.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. So did you have to study something, or is Cegep is everything? Like, no, like, did you have a focus like we do for college? Like, you don't go to like just college and go to random classes. You have a focus.
Yeah.
In Cegep, do you pick like a major, or do you have to take general courses because it is technically grade 12? Like, how does that work?
It's general courses, but in a subject. So I did science, but you can do like human, like which is like psychology, like all those other courses that I don't really know. Poli-sci, I guess.
Yay!
Yeah.
No, a little something,
Yeah.
something over there.
Yeah. Yeah, so I did science. And in Cegep, you could also do, like, for example, if you want to be a nurse, then you can do, instead of 2 years, you can do 3 years and become a nurse. Like, there's also a way to have a job right after. That's another kind of sector of Cegep. But I did 3 years of Cegep.
Because of volleyball.
Yeah.
Hey!
Because you were playing football.
Yeah, exactly. So you can take less classes and then play an extra year. And it doesn't affect your eligibility for university. So you actually have more experience once you get to university.
So when you were applying for universities, how did you pick McGill?
I picked McGill because I love challenges and I didn't speak English.
No way!
So, yeah, so I went there and I thought I was going to be okay until I went in class. And then the whole first class, they were talking about lungs and anatomy. And I just got out and I asked my friend, I was like, what's lung? Like, they've been saying this word the whole class. And then, yeah, when she told me, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be so hard. I need to know the little parts of it, but I don't even know the major organs of the body in English.
Now, can you imagine just showing up at like Sherbrooke for the first day of class and be like, what are they talking about?
What the hell is polyteak? Oh!
Yeah, write a paper
Exactly.
about it.
No, it's funny because obviously I played a few events with Hugo Rosso, and he's predominantly French-speaking. So I pick up on his mannerisms, but it's funny because when we're traveling, sometimes the English words don't come to him, but he can describe it very, very well. So I remember traveling with him, and it smelled like really bad, and he was like explaining to me what a skunk was, but he didn't know what a skunk was in English. So he's like, the furry thing that's black and white and stinks. And I was like, okay, Hugo, I know what you're talking about. What is it in French? He goes, moufette. I go, are you trying to say
so good,
right? And he's like, and I said, are you trying to say skunk? And he's like, skunk.
Nice you go in person.
Yeah.
Good.
So we had those little interactions where it'd be like, do you want this? He's like, no. And it'd be like, well, what's this? He'd describe it to me. It's like, it's like an animal, but it's got a shell and claws. Oh, it's a crab. A crab!
I know.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely still have those moments. Talk to Amanda about it. Yeah. No,
so it's good that it's coming on. But no, to come back to volleyball, I think you still are one of the first people to really truly dive in to the national team from Quebec.
Yeah.
And for as good, Josh and I have talked about this a lot in previous podcasts, talking about the culture and the culture between different provinces. And playing in Quebec and playing with a Quebec partner, there's a lot of good culture that comes out of Quebec in terms of they want to include everybody. They really love volleyball, but at the top end, there's really not a lot of francophone national team players.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Is it the language barrier? Is it sort of that inability for people to sort of dive in and go, you know what, I'm gonna jump ship, stop everything that I'm doing, come to Toronto and play?
Yeah, I think it's really hard because Toronto is, first of all, really expensive because we have to find an apartment.
Right.
Most people live at home. So we have to find a place, find a job to pay for that place, and pay for travel. And on top of that, if English, you're not used to it, that like finding a job is hard. When you're going to practice, like you're mentally tired. Like everything is just like a little harder, but it's definitely one of the best moves I've made.
Well,
like I'm super happy about it.
No, it's been great, and you know what? It's still like you're still pretty much the only francophone woman on the national team.
Yeah. Well, the affiliate program with the Quebec program, we have like Sarah, Myriam, Maude, and Hélène.
So why don't you speak to that for people that don't know that the province of Quebec actually started its own affiliate program to sort of bridge that gap that we're saying unfortunately still exists.
Yeah, so it's hard like to move here and stuff, so to help them pursue their dreams and then like still improve. Vincent Larrivée, who's like the head coach of the Beach National Program in Quebec, built like that bridge by saying it's the affiliate program of Quebec. So they get like some practices, some like camps. I know they did a camp in California during the winter to go and practice. I think it was like 10 days where Annie and Vincent were there to teach them. They're helping them like in Edmonton, I think, because they identify that as a target event. So I think it's amazing. Like it's what the sports needs, and not only with Quebec. Like I know like there's the language also, but I think if we could have that with the other provinces, we'd get a bigger pool of players.
I think so too. I think, and it's a good sort of precedent to set with having other provincial programs. I know, Josh, we talked about Ray Sewell sort of bridging that gap with Alberta volleyball, and I think that's sort of been the two provinces that have gone above and beyond to sort of bridge the gap between the provincial team and the national team, which I think is one of the biggest hurdles to jump.
Yeah.
I think there's such high levels of talent between the provincial teams that making that jump from Team Ontario, Team Quebec, Team Saskatchewan to Team Canada is really tough to do.
Yeah. Well, I think Quebec has a lot of great resources where Vincent was on the World Tour for a long time, coaching Annie Martin, right? So who's a two-time Olympian. So I think it's great there. And I think Quebec as a province supports amateur athletics really well. So they have their version of whatever Quest for Gold. I guess they get funding through like a monthly stipend, right? So I think everything kind of aligned really well for Quebec, where like you said, Dal, I think Alberta's doing a good job and Team Ontario has a strong program and BC is a great volleyball program, but it just sounds like Vincent kind of really took a lot of leadership on his own to kind of affiliate with the national team more so than I think other provinces have. And I think because of the amateur support in Quebec, it's kind of a boost to just push it and really professionalize it a little bit earlier than other people have.
I think it's tough too because a lot of provinces don't necessarily want to play ball with the national federation, and I think, and I'm going to take a hot take here, BC, for example, has a huge talent pool, but I think there's this sort of derisive tone towards Ontario, and as a result, because the national team is centered in Ontario, there's this apprehension for, I'll say, BC athletes to come out, other than Mike Plantinga, who did it really early on. I think 2009 is when he started. I think in order... Jamie as well, and Maverick. When I think of all the talent that they have there, there's so many people that you can literally say, oh yeah, he's good enough to be on the national team, and you're right. He or she or whatever, they're good enough, but I think that sort of culture of separation almost prevents almost Canada from creating the best possible athletes out of the resources that we do have.
Well, I think it's interesting on the beach because everybody, you're kind of your own team, right? And you want to travel, where I've never heard an indoor athlete be like, oh, I'd love to play indoor, but I don't want to move to Gatineau. Like, that's just not a thing on the men's indoor team. Or now that in Richmond on the women's side, they don't say it, but because beach, you're an athlete and you're so empowered and you're paying your own money to travel and stuff, that you're right, Dal, like Dan Caverly, Alex Russell, there's a few other BC athletes that I think should be on the national team right now. Jared Krause, and there's athletes all over the country, but for whatever reason, beach athletes aren't willing to take the jump that you did, where indoor is just kind of like, if I want to be on the team, I got to move to Gatineau. Like, it's that simple for them, right?
Yeah. And it's a weird bridge between indoor and beach, too, because, for people that don't know, the tryout fee for the indoor national team is something like $1,000 to try out.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know
It's
that.
around $1,000 to try out for the national team, so you only get people that really think they're going to be on the team. The caveat being that when you make the FTC, you're getting Sport Canada carding. So you're getting $1,200 a month, your food is paid for, your travel expenses are paid for with the team. Where with beach, I was on the FTC for 5 years. I think I was only carded once. So out of the 8 years that I played internationally, I was carded once. I was on the FTC team for 7 years, paid my own rent, paid my own travel expenses. I got the cool clothes, but that doesn't really pay the bills, right?
Yeah.
But we're all on the Volleyball Canada webpage. Everybody, you're pooled in with the national team athlete, but I think there isn't that degree of separation with the indoor team where the top guys and the development guys are making the same amount of carding, where, obviously senior A carding is light years ahead of development carding on the beach.
Yeah.
So what helped you make this jump? Like, did Simone, being one of the first to do it, did you ask him questions, or did you just decide beach is your thing and you took the leap? Like, was there any role models or people you spoke to?
I actually came here one summer because my boyfriend is from Toronto, so I came here with him.
Assist to him for you being on the national team.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm doing
if you were dating someone else, you probably wouldn't be on the national team.
Yeah, and then I saw the beach because I hadn't really played beach volleyball much before, a little bit, but it was really recreational, with beers, or it was far away from being serious. But when I came in Toronto one summer, he brought me to the beach, and I was like, this is my paradise. I call it my paradise because I was amazed by the amount of courts, the water.
Yeah.
I thought it was so pretty. And then Adriana was actually on the beach training people, so I just sat and watched. I love the sport so much. So I sat, watched the whole practice, and then at the end, my boyfriend was like, you should go talk to her. And I was like, okay. So I made the jump and I talked to her, and then she told me hey, tomorrow do you want to come and practice? We can see. So I practiced with Denise Wooding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my first beach practice with her, and then Adriana was like, oh, you should think about it. You definitely have some potential. We would like to have you. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going back to school, but maybe next year. So then I did the C program. Yeah. That's where I met Megan. Yeah. So that's how I came here.
I had no idea that happened. So were you even a volleyball fan enough to go to the Quebec Open when it happened? The Jeep? I think
the Jeep, 2011.
Were you at that?
I was in Quebec, yes. I was there for sure. And then when I was in Montreal, I was a ball roller.
Oh, wow. Way back. 2007.
Yeah.
That's got to be 40 years ago.
Yeah.
More numbers from the numbers guy.
Yeah. I think I did it for 3 years in Montreal.
So you might remember seeing Dana Cook play.
Yeah.
She played with Annie in 2007.
I think that would be it, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at us with all these
I
facts.
know.
Numbers,
That's
guys.
so good.
So
Yeah.
there was a lot of international tournaments in Quebec, and there was actually supposed to be, so here's another piece of information that people don't know. There was actually supposed to be another Quebec Open either before or after Junior Worlds in Halifax in 2012, but it got canceled. So when we originally got recruited to play under 21s, the sort of crowning piece on that was you're also going to get a qualification berth into this Open tournament, but it ended up getting canceled. And since then, there really hasn't been a lot of action internationally, not only for Quebec, but for Canada. How sweet would it be to start off getting like a Norseca there, or hopefully working your way into a 1 or a 2-star, maybe? And I think Quebec has the fan base for sport that a 4-star could happen.
Yeah, I think right now, Sarah Jean's dad is like working towards that. That's one of his goals. I think there's a lot of people that are just teaming up to make the sport like at the next level, and it's super appreciated to see, even if I'm not there so often. Like whenever I go, like I see it growing. And then last weekend you were at that tournament in La Prairie, where there was actually a qualifier on Friday. Like, this is amazing.
Right.
Like, I love it.
What was it? 36 teams, I think it was. 34 teams, something like that.
Yeah.
A lot more than what's going on here.
I know.
think the women had 28 and the guys had over 40, I think. Yeah, they definitely tried to cut it down to 32 after Friday with the qualifier. We'll check, but there was a lot.
I know.
So let's segue there. It sounds like the provincial association's doing a really good job, but the thing that's setting Quebec apart right now is there's private promoters who are running these tournaments, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned Sarah Jean's father. What's kind of sparking them to get involved in this for you? Like, there's prize money at 3 or 4, maybe 5 events in Quebec this summer.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot going on. Apparently the players got fed this weekend. They had the smoked meat sandwiches going and some other stuff. But talk about what's happening in Quebec with adult volleyball and where all these teams are coming from. We kind of talked about it last week, but with Liam and Chris, we're not really experts in this field. Now we have a true local who can maybe explain it a little bit better.
I think there's always been so many beach volleyball players in Quebec, and once they play for a long time. Like, it doesn't stop. It's like a culture. Like, there's like little tournaments in Jolly Beach like every weekend, and this is like a couple who love the sports, who like throw in like some, like literally build the whole setup, like the sand, like put some lights for the night, like build a league. So there's that in like many places, and because like the players are from everywhere, it's hard. Like Toronto is central with a lot of players, so there's one league here at night. But in Quebec, it's like very, like people live far from each other, so there's like mini leagues. So I think that builds up like a bigger pool of players. And then I think the youth right now, like Vincent's doing such a good job with the youth programs, and then some clubs are actually starting to do
beach clubs.
Beach as well. Like I know Lanx now has also like a beach summer camp, like not only like an indoor. So there are also one club who's doing like a private event where you can have some money. Boucherville is.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because Dal talked about the Jeep Open, how popular that was in Montreal. Even with when we had Dave and Sean on the show, they talked about Repentigny was like the stop on the Labatt Tour.
Whoa.
You must be too young to remember that, though. I think the Labatt Tour. Yeah. But there's so many communities in Quebec that just love volleyball, right? And I think, like you said, they play past the adult level. Where Dallas, now that you're retired, kind of your age group, they don't even play anymore if they're not on the national team, right? Like I know in my age group, there's nobody really playing OVAs anymore, right? In Ontario, it's a weird culture that way.
I'm golfing every weekend. I haven't touched a volleyball. I haven't touched a volleyball significantly in, I would say, since national team selection camp.
But the guys you grew up with don't either. Like Nick LeBlanc doesn't play anymore. Oneed, Poldma, like all these great players when we were growing up. As soon as you leave, you leave.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. As soon as it's done, it's done. Actually, my girlfriend is playing competitive twos every Tuesday at the Docks in Toronto.
Hey.
And she said July, I think it's 16th next week. She goes, my partner's not coming, so you're on the hook to play. So I'm making my return to Tuesday Night Beer League. And I don't know if I should like go out full force and like really try, or if I'm like, maybe I should just like have fun and
Just don't have a freak out. That's what I think.
Well.
You're going to argue a rule that they've never
Whoa. No, you got a face when you said.
And you're going to pull a Sergey and be like, guys, I played on the FIVB. I know the rule.
So that's the thing. When I go, I think I'm gonna wear full pants. I'm gonna cover myself. I have a super original Maple Leaf tattoo. I don't want anyone to know that I was on the national team.
Don't even wear a volleyball shirt.
No, I think I'm gonna wear like a hockey shirt or like a baseball.
Dress like a hockey player.
Yeah.
Remember when your buddy tried to borrow a shirt and all your Titan Bright stuff was just gone?
Yeah.
You didn't want to wear it.
So I'm glad you said that. Shout out to Matt O'Connor, who's currently in the Pittsburgh Penguins farm system. He used to play for the Ottawa Senators. You'll appreciate this. He was at my place, and he stayed over, and he's working out at the BioSteel camp, like to get ready at St. Mike's. And he goes, "Hey, like, do you have any like workout clothes that I can wear? Like, I'm gonna go straight to the gym. I gotta work out, and then I'm going on the ice." So I open up my closet, and it's all like, you know, sort of men's volleyball. For whatever reason, it's very bright neon colors. And he's like rifling through my stuff, and he's like, no. Like, he's like, dude, I can't wear any of this. He goes, if I wear any of this, like, I will get made fun of so much. So he's like, I'm gonna sleep here, and like, I'm just gonna go to Lululemon and buy new clothes tomorrow.
That was that bad?
Yeah. He's like, and I was like, man, like, here's a shirt. He goes, no, I can't wear this. Oh. So, and I'm like shoes, shirt, shorts. He's like, socks. He goes, why do you guys have to dress like this? He goes, so he woke up the next day, and he's like, we had breakfast, and I was like, Matt, what are you going to do? He's like, I'm literally going to go buy a whole new outfit because he couldn't wear any of my volleyball stuff.
Oh, man.
More hockey guys, you know, they just wear the black shorts, black shirt. Is that it?
Yeah, they got no fun.
No personality.
Yeah, no zest.
Did you play in that, Peggy?
I did.
How was that?
I played the first year, I think it was there, with Ivan Reka, and we took a fourth. I think it was really cool because it was the first time there was a sort of inclusive culture, and I think Quebec has done a really good job of welcoming everybody until you shoot yourself in the foot and start skyballing on people. But when I was there, especially with Ivan, and Ivan did a really good job of introducing me to everyone there and explaining sort of their significance in the community. And what I thought was really cool is they had the barbecue afterwards. So you had, I think it was a qualifier day, and then pool play, and then from, the quarters or semis on was the third day. But that sort of transition day where everybody was sort of out, and you had the sort of the top 8 or top 4 teams, there was a barbecue at Sarah's dad's house. Yeah. We can call him Nick. We don't have to keep calling him Sarah's dad. Yeah. But I thought that was like, what other place or what other tournament do you know of where everybody goes out to dinner together to sort of be like, hey, like, we're all having fun, like, and for me, at least being Anglophone, I think it sort of threw me off, being like, why is everybody enjoying themselves so much?
Yeah, we like to have fun.
Yeah, you like to have fun.
Yeah, keep it simple, but have fun.
Like, is that part of the Quebec even in indoor volleyball? Like, you have rivalries on the court and then you talk after, or is it just a beach thing where everybody's kind of together?
I think we have, like, with Team Quebec, then you talk about, like, with your adversaries, you said? Adversaries. After.
Because Dallas went to Guelph, and as soon as he did that, nobody at York would talk to him. You know?
No, not even the coaches.
Really?
No, shut down.
Where it seems like you going to McGill, like Sarah Jean at Sherbrooke would still talk to you probably.
Yeah, for sure.
Acknowledge you as a person.
We go out together.
No,
like we go out with other teams.
Maybe it was a Dal thing, but
I don't want to. Yeah, maybe it's not an Ontario thing.
It could have been Ontario. Could have been a Dallas Keith thing, but no, nobody. Not like even administration. They. I remember funny. They like because you have these little yearbooks when you go on like the game day pamphlets, and they had like a little write-up on the starting lineup of Guelph, and I was starting libero at the time, and they just wrote Dallas Keith, former York Lion, and that was it. That was it. They didn't write any of the stats. Like they had like our outside hitters, like, you know, this amount of kills per game, like leading the OUA, like had a little sort of blurb. They just had Dallas Keith, former Lion.
He existed here once.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's swing it back to you. About Dal and his hockey stories here, but I think we did a good job with Quebec there.
You know what? And the whole takeaway from this is I think Quebec has done a really good job of trying to expand not necessarily the competition, but the entire sport of volleyball within the province.
Yeah.
I think that's what we need more than anything else. Is it seems like Vince sort of played ball with Volleyball Canada and used that Volleyball Canada brand to sort of branch off and create all this new and exciting thing that is Quebec volleyball.
Yeah, and I think Vince is really like athlete-centered, so he actually responds to the needs. Like some athletes wanted to be in Toronto, but then it was hard, like money-wise, or like they couldn't be here because of the language, or they needed to go back for their work. So like he did a really good job at being like, okay, like we know you want to do that. Like what are your goals and stuff, and then we're gonna help you here. Like in Quebec, we're gonna find a way. Yeah, I think, he's doing an amazing job.
Now, is Annie involved in coaching? She does indoor coaching, but is she on the beach as well?
She's on the beach in the summer, but now she's actually, did you know that? She's the main coach at Sherbrooke.
I did know that. Thank you.
Wait a minute. Which Sherbrooke?
University.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah.
And another big coach in the community we should talk about is Mondor is coaching on the beach.
Yes.
She has basically your version of the provincial team, the youth team, right? Is that what she's coaching?
Yeah, well, the youth team, and then she helps all the way through. Like, she's also coaching some adults.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Because I always see her, except for this year when it had a scheduling conflict, she usually brings a large amount of youth athletes to the the OVA Grand Slam, and the Quebec athletes come and play in the youth event, which is always a great experience.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of former players in the Quebec community who are still involved coaching and kind of helping grow the sport, right?
Yeah, they were definitely an inspiration for me when I was younger. Monda was playing in Montreal when I was ball rolling, I think.
I think at one point she had the hardest serve on tour.
Yes.
One of the best servers, So.
Yeah. And fun fact, when I went back, you were saying how Laval has old players.
Yeah.
When I went and played at McGill, she actually did a return, and I played against her indoor.
Never too late, Dal. We might be able to go to Quebec and get some of this sweet, endless eligibility.
Yeah. You know what? I'm 26. I think that's pretty young to start
That's
Cegep.
super young. No, university? You're still so young.
No, Cegep.
You can start Cegep forever.
I've never been to Cegep before. Might as well start.
If MC can learn English her first day at university, you can learn French by going to Cegep.
Let's go. Yeah.
I'm putting my hand over my head because I think there couldn't be a bigger disaster than me showing up to an all-French Cegep.
Je m'appelle Dallas.
People think I'm stupid in English. They're gonna think I'm out of control dumb in Quebec.
No, they're gonna think you're smart in English, and it's just a language thing. So then you get a lot of credit.
Okay, sounds good to me. Yeah.
You can be a Quebec affiliate, get some sweet money.
Yeah, I've played this hand wrong my entire career.
Yeah.
We're turning the page, starting today.
Yeah.
There's going to be a little accent aigu on the
Yeah.
Nice. Well, let's bring it back to you. Let's bring it back to volleyball. So because you didn't grow up dreaming of being a national team athlete, what was your first international tournament, and what was that like? It was a Norseca tournament you and Megan went to, right? Where was that? Tell us some good Norseca stories.
Yeah. My first Norseca event was in Tavares, Florida. So it was in the Meadowland, which I was surprised because I thought they would always be like on the beach.
Right.
So I was really surprised about that. And I also learned about the thunderstorm wall over there because there was a big thunderstorm, and then we had to like cancel like the games, go under, like wait, and then we ended up not being able to play and have to restart the whole match the next day after winning one set.
How long did you have to stay on site before they finally canceled it? It's
More
over
than
an
2
hour.
hours.
2 hours, right?
Yeah. I think it's 2 hours and something. And some people had their watch. Like, it's a big thing because, like, some people have coaches. So once you go under, like, you can kind of, like, talk to your coaches and stuff. So I remember Rachel and Camille were there, like, playing the States, and they had beat them one set because we were in the playoff rounds.
Mm-hmm.
They had beat them one set. And they were into the second set, and it was going, like, I think pretty well for them. And then when they started the next day, they got beaten too. And it was just like, what are the odds that after restarting the whole game, like that happened? You know, it really taught me a lesson there, like from the start.
Was your match affected by the weather delay as well?
Yeah, we had to restart.
And did you guys win? Or
Yeah.
Okay, so it didn't curse
Yeah.
you as well.
No.
Dallas, have you ever had a weather delay where you had to restart a match the following day?
The following day, no, but I had a provincial final where it got switched because the rain delay was so long that they switched the match from 21 to 15. So it was 2 sets, it was 3 sets to 15 instead of 21, 21, 15.
Yeah. That happened at National here last year. My sister.
Happens when we're racing daylight, I think, when you have to pause for a certain amount, right? Because that would have been a 2-hour delay, an hour and a half delay, maybe?
I think it was, almost 3. So.
Almost 3 hours
Yeah.
delay, so... Nice, so welcome to the show. That's
Yeah.
international volleyball, apparently. You're not on the beach.
I
You get a
know.
weather delay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So were you hooked at that point, or you guys played a full season of Norsekas, right? That wasn't your only
Yeah.
event that year, right? You went to... How many did you go to? 6?
That year?
I
Maybe.
feel like there was a bunch that year.
But I don't think we did most of them.
Okay.
Because I think it was like Brandy and Julie were on the tour. I was at school, so Megan was just calling me whenever like she needed someone, but I was not even training.
I misread your FIB bio because you played with Megan for so long. You only played 2 in 2015, but you played a bunch in 2016, and then you actually went a bunch of World Tour events in 2017. I didn't realize you played with Megan for 3 years. That was a lot of tournaments. Awesome.
We gotta get a new intern.
Oh man, intern Jim let me down here. Awesome. So you started off on the Norseka circuit before going. Was your first FIB Long Beach then?
Yes.
Nice. And what was that experience like? Dallas, you never played Long Beach, right? I don't think you were.
No, I've never been to California.
Really? A beach volleyball player has never been to California. Even I've been to California.
Woo!
No, never
That's
played.
definitely a thing to do for you.
I know, right? I had an opportunity, and you know what? To this day, I still regret it. I had an opportunity to play a qualifier in Long Beach, and I said no. I want to play Canadian Nationals instead, and I think it was a bit of a misread by me. But you know what? I've only made one mistake in my life, and that was it. So
Learn from it.
yeah, never made that again.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite Norseka? Who runs a good Norseka, if such thing exists?
Well, for Canada, it's going to be a good thing. Ed, when he's in charge, run actually a really good Norsekas because games start on time. The schedule is up, like not too late. And we know what to expect. But when it's someone else, you never know.
If you actually had a tournament start late, like you've witnessed it at an event you've been to?
Yeah, like because we were so used to like Norseka, so we did Long Beach, like that was fine, nothing happened. But then our other FIVB event was in Florida.
Fort
Like
Lauderdale?
yeah. So after playing a bunch of Norseka, where time doesn't really matter, you get like unlimited almost warm-up time. So we're playing qualifiers in Fort Lauderdale, and then there's actually like the game goes longer, so we're like, okay, we're gonna have not much time, but not thinking it's gonna be like 10 minutes from like when the ball lands to when we start. And we probably peppered for 1 minute, hit one ball, and had to play our first qualifier game. And we were like, oh my god, like I remember Megan had to switch top, like it was like so much thing was happening. I was like, okay, we're here to play, so who needs a warm up?
We're in Norseka, just like, no, chill, I need another
Yes,
5 minutes, I need another 5
actually.
minutes. You get to the FIB and it's go, go, go.
Yes.
Well, it's interesting though because different tournaments run differently. Because when Jake and I were in that 2-star with you in Manly, we went to the venue, had the technical meeting at the venue, got the team we were supposed to play, went back because we were the night game so we were the later game because it was too hot.
Yeah.
And we come to the venue and it's a different team
Huh?
than what we were.
Ooh, and that doesn't happen very often.
No.
So we were supposed to play Thailand. We left thinking we're playing Thailand. We scouted them for like 2 hours back at the Airbnb. We come back to the venue going, okay, I know exactly what we're going to do. We play New Zealand. In the first
Surprise!
round. Yeah.
How did that go?
We lost in 3.
Blame it on them.
No, we lost in 3, but our takeaway from that tournament, we talked about it on the last podcast, is I hit Daniel Mueller, the Austrian, in the face and celebrated really loud and didn't know it, and then his partner went up to Jake and said, yeah, he doesn't like you.
I don't think you're supposed to celebrate when you, like, hit somebody in the throat. But
I guess not. That was the second
depends.
mistake I made.
Yeah. I think it depends to a certain extent. Some people are going to celebrate if it's like a game point of a big match. But
I don't think
it's like
that's
5-2.
yeah, same thing.
Whoops.
Right? It's a big side switch.
Hey.
Nice. So can you share an Orsika story with us? So you mentioned tournaments, like the schedule doesn't always run on time. You had a weather delay, but like Liam's been to one where like just, I don't think center court was even up the first day. Like they just used the side courts because just nobody bothered to put up the center court. It might have been Fyodor. Somebody explained that like a dog ran on the court in the middle of their game. Like that stuff doesn't even happen in like an OVA tournament.
Yeah.
Like, or like Nursika's just seemed like anything's up for grabs there, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, the Nursika I played with Amanda in Martinique, it was a playing ground for like youth. Like they were coming at recess and playing, and it was like not a forest. It was like on the beach, but it was like trees. So the day before, we like go to practice, but can't practice because they're actually taking down the trees. Like they're removing trees to build where we're gonna play. So they're removing trees. There's like the floor is not floor, but it was almost a floor. But it's so hard. It's like dirt. So like no one really wanted to dive. Like it was a jumper stand for real. Well, it wasn't sand.
And your game interrupted recess. You probably got yelled at by all these little kids.
So yeah, around us, like there was like those kids playing soccer.
I also
Like,
heard
not
at
too
that
far.
tournament that there was a night game, but the lights weren't strong enough, so
Yes.
they drove cars to
Yes.
center court.
That's true. Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes.
So it was a bunch of cars lighting
Yeah.
up center court.
Yeah,
Nice.
definitely a lot happened. It was their first event, so
And last.
you don't know. Maybe another time. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
It's French, so I hope they have another one.
Can you still go to an Orsika, or have you reached the cap in points where it wouldn't make sense for you and Amanda to go?
Yeah, we reached a cap. Like we can go because we won the Norsika trials in like March or something.
Okay, yeah.
And then we wanted to do one to prepare us for like the second part of this season, and they said no, like we couldn't go.
Yeah, you just
But it's
passed
a
that
good
stage.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm
it's a
happy
good
about
problem
it.
to have,
I'm
yeah.
super happy.
Start making main draws. You
Yeah.
don't have Orsikas anymore. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's just fun because Norsika you get some games, and it doesn't need to count in your points. So it's a good like preparatory tournament when you haven't played for a while.
Yeah.
But like I also agree that we should let the other people go.
Mm-hmm.
Like give a chance to everyone.
Well, it's got to be a different feeling getting off the plane. Like you said, you're guaranteed matches, and you know you're in a tournament. Versus,
Yeah.
can you maybe describe to our listeners the feeling of going to a qualifier?
Yeah.
Like, what's that like with planning your travel and everything that goes into that?
Yeah, so we actually did one this year where we're going to one tournament. Normally we try to stack like a few of them, so it makes more sense like money wise. But we went to Xiamen this year for the qualifiers. So we arrived like a few days earlier because you really want to perform at that. So you want to adjust to the time, make sure you like not too early because the food is not so good. So yeah, so you need to make sure like you're properly like
Nourished?
nourished.
Hey,
Thank you,
yes, yes.
thank you. And yeah, so you go and then you give everything. That first game we played France, and sadly we lost. But it was a really good game, and like we definitely learned some good things, and we were like right up there with them.
So tips to younger athletes, what do you do after you get knocked out of the qualifier? Obviously, you're not going out that night and raging and doing all this stuff. Like, how do you plan training for the rest of the week? Like, how do you plan your airplane ticket? Like, when do you leave the venue? Like, what goes into that level where I think we always celebrate that people make the main draw and it's awesome they get a result.
Yeah.
There is another side where sometimes you fly across the world and you play one game and that's your trip, right?
Yeah, well, so the next day you plan training like with people around that I've also lost. And you have to train before the game start or after, because during the tournament, then the main draw players are using the warm-up court to actually warm up.
Yeah, Dallas used to do that to everybody. Beat a qualifier guy.
I was speaking in the third person.
Yeah. So you go either before the games or after, or sometimes there's a break during the day. So then you set up 1 or 2 training, and then you might take a day off after if you play 2 games. But if not, you go watch some games, you learn, and then you practice against other team. Like, it's a really good chance to practice against international team and see other styles of play that we don't really get to see here. So we definitely stayed and did that, and we followed our Canadian team that we're playing. So we would go and cheer them on.
Nice. So there's a pretty good network on tour that you can find people
Yeah.
to compete with, and good.
Yeah. I remember at that tournament, we were going early on this Saturday, I think. We had a flight that day. We wanted to get in and practice, so we were like, okay, we're going to go at 6. The game starts at 8, but we want to make sure to have a court. So we go with the Australians, and then we get to the courts, and the courts are packed. More than 3 teams per court. Like, it was so, I couldn't believe it. Like, we warmed up on the side. We're like, what are we doing? Like, it's 6 o'clock. We're awake. Like, we came here. Are we going to, like, train? We ended up, like, jumping in with, like, 2 more teams. But I couldn't believe it. And they were saying, like, because it's an Olympic year, like, it really happened often. Like, once people are losing, like, people train so early and they're ready to do whatever to do it. Like, this is the culture on the tour.
So you're saying even teams that were eliminated from the main draw stuck around to get in
Yeah.
training in the next day? Wow.
Yeah. No, it was packed. I was like, okay.
All right, MC, we've taken a lot of your time tonight. Obviously, you'll have to be a return guest. But to close this one out, Dallas and I have a tradition where we just love a good road story. Now, this doesn't have to involve volleyball, but I think a good road story usually at a tournament and something funny happens. So anything coming to mind, can you cue up just like a funny story for our listeners?
Yeah, so this one happened surprisingly in China. Not so much. Everything happens in China. No, so we were from Shanghai to Nantong on our trip, and then we get a taxi from the airport, and then Amanda, when we get to the hotel, is like, ooh, and we're upstairs, and she's like, oh no, I forgot my bag. And luckily, this guy really wanted us to take a taxi back, so he gave us his phone number. So she calls him, and he's like, "Oh, actually, I'm already 15 minutes away. I'm not gonna come back." And she's like, "I need my bag. Like, you need to come back." And he's like, "Oh, it's gonna be 100 yuan." So he actually made us pay a ransom to get our bag. I couldn't believe it. And then the people from the reception were talking to him because we don't speak Chinese. And they were so, sad for us. And, they called him back, 3 times. This guy actually made us wait, longer. We missed, a part of a practice because we were waiting for him. It was just chaotic. And then we get on, so she gets her bag back, has to pay the ransom. We're, already, on, not on earth, but, it's, too bad. And then we get a taxi now to go to the courts. So we get the address online. And this lady, she brings us in the middle of nowhere in China. There's a canal with brown water on one side. And on the other side, it's just a field. So we're like, well, it's not here. So. And then she doesn't speak English. So we're stuck there for 5 minutes. We're just stopped in the middle of nowhere, and we're trying to tell her can you bring us back to the hotel or something and then she's doesn't speak anything until she calls her son who speaks English, and then he talked to us, and then we're like, can you bring us back to the hotel? And he's like, no, we still to this day don't understand why we were not allowed to go back to the hotel, but that was not a choice for them. But they ended up talking to the FIVB people, and they explained where the court was in Chinese. It was it took us more than an hour to get to the court, and it was what a day!
It wasn't your game.
What a day! I know. Yeah, but that was
pseudo random field.
Yeah.
Hey, beat it. This is your stop.
Thailand? What?
Yeah, that was a crazy travel there. Yeah.
Well, Dallas, if we're ever in China, again, I've had to go for a tournament. Have you been? Looks like we're just going to eat Pizza Hut and go.
Oh, well, does Hong Kong count?
No.
If you ask
Hong
them,
Kong
no,
is
but I
amazing.
include it.
Okay.
No, Hong Kong is really nice.
So I've been to Hong Kong. I've never been to
Yeah.
mainland China.
I was
Yeah.
happy that McDonald's tasted the same, but it broke my heart that Red Bull did not taste the same.
It did not taste the
No.
same.
Monster energy drink did, but Red Bull did not. It kind of ruined my trip. But where were we? Qinzhou?
I
God bless
don't
you.
remember. I remember you were miserable.
Like, I'd love to hear why Josh was so miserable in China.
Oh my god.
So it was back in the era. Well, this is my first FIB with Volleyball Canada Senate meeting, but it was back in the era where it's Chris Galbraith is a warrior.
Yeah.
Back when Volleyball Canada, we were collecting our own video database. The host didn't film, so we didn't have access to stuff. So we had a camera set up on every court. You got to be there from like the first shuttle, and you're going back on the last shuttle. There's no food at the venue. The washroom was a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
Like, there was no running water, so I would take as many bottled water as I could from the hotel, and then when Adriana would come to train, she'd bring me a couple more. It was the weirdest format where everything was single limb. Qualifier was single limb, and the main draw that you guys were in, you drew Summer
and Sarah. Was she with Sarah?
I think she was with Brooke Sweat that year.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Summer
like you're in the main draw, and that's a single limb. Like so.
First game.
Canada sends like 4 or 5 staff because Cam was there. I was there. Adriana, Dana, Steve, and we're out after the second day because of the qualifier. We lose a couple teams, and then the main draw because of this wonky format. We're out. So I'm just by myself for like 4 days in a row, just taking the shuttle alone, taking the shuttle back. Like,
I just imagine you pounding on the bus.
Yeah.
I hate it here. The Red Bull doesn't taste right.
There's no shade.
Yeah. Well, China.
That was great. I ruined one kid's shirt. He asked for an autograph. I gave it to him.
Really?
It was awesome. Sophie Vukovic and I were in the bleachers, and she got mobbed. Like, as soon as she got recognized by a player, it was basically just like photo.
Yeah.
And finally, one kid asked me, I was like, I'm not a player. And he goes, I don't care. I was like, I don't care either.
Your Red Bull sucks, Josh Nickel.
That was one good thing about China was the volunteers were super interested.
Yes.
I forget who it was. I think it was maybe Anchaveris and Virgin, his partner. The kids kept asking for pictures. So finally, one of them grabbed it and took a selfie with like 40 kids in the background, handed the phone back, and just ran to the shuttle. Like, they were out of there. Because the kids just wanted your picture, wanted to talk to everybody. That was the fun part about China. But food, weather, everything was just,
It was so hot. Oh, yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for giving us a glimpse into Quebec volleyball, because it is trending in the right direction right now.
Yeah.
It's getting retweets, that's for sure.
It's getting retweets. Maybe we'll get some Quebec listeners out of this.
Yeah. Come on in. Let's go.
But no, best of luck in Edmonton and Vancouver, and especially in Peru.
Thank
you.
you.
It's going to be awesome to cheer you guys on there.
We're glad the Pan Am watch is over and we can finally award it to somebody. Breaking news.
Breaking
news.
news.
We've had Aaron
Crunching
on the show.
numbers.
It was great to get you on the show as well. So thanks for being a loyal listener to the show, and it was great to have you on.
I think you're on the super best friend list now.
Yeah,
for sure.
Ben's not going to like that because he wants to separate himself.
I'll take it.
But no, thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
Bye, Mom.
Bye, Josh's mom.
Thanks again to MC Lapointe for a great episode. MC will be doing an Instagram takeover this weekend, so be sure to follow our Passin Dimes account. If you're one of the lucky people attending the Vancouver Open this weekend, say hi to guests of the show, Chris Tao, MC, Roland Bouchard, Aaron Nussbaum, Craig Moore, Jody Z, and Jake McNeil. We are currently accepting 5-star reviews, while Dallas's appeal for a 6-star is still pending. We hope you enjoyed this episode. The best compliment you can give the show is by telling a friend. Stay excellent, folks.